So welcome back to Decoy Noise. Today we're going to go over an AskReddit thread that talks about what is the stupidest way you've injured yourself. So if you haven't already, please subscribe down below, but let's just get right into the story. Team Murray XO says, threw a grape in the air to catch it with my mouth. It fell on the floor and I bent down to pick it up and smashed my face into the windowsill. The one in the number 4 says, this actually made me laugh. Sorry. How did this person get silver and 1.8 thousand votes for saying that? Mike possibly said, stabbed myself in the leg with a piece of metal. Oh god. It was a really thin and tapered at the tip, so when you swung it, you could hear this really cool whoosh sound. I swung down way too hard and went right into my shin. Bad times. Oh my god, I can feel it already. Kate the Glitterbug says, I did this, but I swung up instead. Ripped my forehead. Oh. Mixtape Shuffle says, tripped over a storage ottoman trying to jump over it and all slick. Got my toes wedged in the latch and broke my foot in 2 places. This is just cringe right now. Kate is me says, I was in the 4th or 5th grade, but I jumped down an entire flight of stairs, landed hard and hurt my foot. Walked on it for a day or 2 afterwards and turned out I shattered my heel and broke my ankle. This person's like a freaking Terminator over here. Kim LH says, hey, I did the same thing in college. A Zero Seal says, drunk or kid? That'd be kind of a funny subreddit to look into. I don't know how to say this. Drank hot tea while laying down? Ow. NNJ, oh my god, that's a hard name to read. The first thing you learn in a British school is never drink tea lying down? Is that a thing? 911 mom of 8 says, was helping husband replace the bathroom fan, so I was standing on the side of the bathtub. I had this plastic hook glued to the shower wall to hang a loofah on. I went to get down and slid on the wall and hooked my butt cheek to the wall? It hurt so bad, but it was also hilarious. I'm in my 40s and this happened recently. What is it? The drunk or kid subreddit. Lonely Soccer. I bent over while having a shower and gouge a hole in my tailbone on the bath tap. Oh, terrible. Janana100 says, I found my dad's EpiPen one day while looking for mouth spray for sore throats. It obviously wasn't what I was looking for, but I wanted to figure out how it worked. I ended up shooting the needle clear through my thumb and then hid the evidence of my stupidity and never told my mom until years later when she needed the EpiPen and was like, what? Why won't this work? Dave the Note Card says, I'm sure your heart was racing for multiple reasons, not even counting the epinephrine. Huh. So luckily, since it went straight through, most of the epinephrine oozed out the needle and onto my hand. My heart was racing significantly because, you know, needle through the thumb, I always suspected a bit got into my open wound. Ooh. Considering it was a lot less than a 100-pound 10-year-old and the pen was meant for a 200-pound man, I'm very grateful I didn't get the whole injection. Ugh. Arcadia Planentia says, you probably would have been okay. EpiPens only come in junior and regular, with junior being smaller than 66 pounds, but still, you were pretty lucky. Disclaimer, I'm not saying that the dose is the same, not that injecting yourself with an EpiPen is safe. If you inject yourself with an EpiPen, go see a doctor. The disclaimers of the guy that's gonna sue, hey, Arcadia Plantia said this thing, and now my kid's dead, or whatever. You betcha, Mom. I live in Minnesota, and I'm used to kicking snow off my boots by slamming my toe part of the boot down on the ground. Well, it was summer, and I happened to get my running shoes and absolutely covered in mud, so I instinctively slammed my toes on the pavement and broke 4 toes. Oh, God. Ashen Magpie says, holy F, I get that running shoes don't exactly have the same structural support as a winter boot, but damn, son, how much force did you pack into that stomp? Silver says, about 4 toes worth. Oh, Reddit, you clever bastard. Lady Naki says, I broke my rib by coughing too hard. That is the dumbest way to hurt yourself. Shells Bells 821 says, I'm just getting over the flu. Did the same thing. Oh, they were coughing and they broke their rib? How much milk are you not having? KGO Bridge says, I dropped something beyond my couch, leaned over the back to pick it up and cracked a rib. Was in pain for a week. Getting old as hell. Wow. One thing I will say right now, as I got older and I'm trying to keep up with like the younger employees I have, is I try to play as many sports and get as much exercise as I possibly can with them, because it's a situation where I'm like, I hear people getting older and they're just making their bed and they throw out their back and their just life is never the same. I want to get my core strength and just all my serviceable like muscles somewhat engaged every now and then, because I feel like I'd be that guy where I'm like, oh, I'm just coughing and I break my rib. Babies, oh god, Anonymous says, bartender here. Reached a little extra to wipe the bar for a new guest on a busy night. Popped a rib. 6 weeks later, still hurts a bit if I sleep on it. Oh. Kicker was I then adjusted my breathing because of the pain, so my diaphragm became irritated. I adjusted again, and then my abs started to hurt. Adjusted again, now my diaphragm, abs, and obliques. God, this is the longest weekend of my life. I honestly thought I was dying that Saturday, probably. But I didn't have a fever, so I figured it was a bizarre injury, which it was. Like I said, it still hurts if I do it wrong, but the muscle pain is gone. This guy needs to see a doctor. Malsominus says, I got out of a long, hot shower, noticed a thread dangling off my shirt. Wait, in the shower? Whatever. And when I tried to pull it, I just neatly sliced through several millimeters of my finger. It was so minor, I hardly can call it an injury, but getting cut by a shirt definitely is the stupidest I had. So many questions. So many questions. Momo156 says, shot myself in the eye with a Nerf gun. I looked into the barrel to see if it was loaded. I was 8. Hey, good thing you learned it when you were a kid and it's a Nerf gun when you're an adult with a real gun. Jesus. A.K.A. Abraham sounds like a supervillain backstory. You can't beat the classics, says, and that's how I became Bozo, the one-eyed moron. Ralphie, is that you? I don't know what this is. John1746 says, walked in on a manhole cover that was not placed on correctly, ended up in the hospital and had to get 3 surgeries over 4 months. See, that's not a stupid thing. He just didn't know the manhole thing wasn't covered correctly. I have a cat dog, says, tragedy is when I cut my finger. Comedy is when you fall in an open sewer and die. Mel Brooks. Okay. Kath Nelson with gold, skull laughing, and silver says, when I was a kid, maybe 10 or so, I had recently discovered that the feet on my prosthetics could be unscrewed and moved in different positions, so I borrowed an Allen key from my dad and took it to school so I could unscrew my feet and show my friends at recess. None of them were as blown away as this as I had hoped. Pretty sure they were just used to this kind of thing by now, haha. Anyway, the bell went to tell us to go back to class, and I very quickly tightened the feet back on the prosthetics, put my shoes back on, and started making my way back to class. As I was walking with a group of classmates, I started to notice my legs felt wobbly. Uh-oh. I looked down with every step, my feet were turning outward slightly. A normal person would have come to the conclusion, oh, I didn't tighten the screws up enough. But not me, I jumped to the conclusion, holy shit, I can control my feet like a robot. My excitement quickly turned to dread when I realized I don't know how to control feet because I'm an amputee since I was a baby, and they kept turning until one of them was pointing sidewise. Despite this, I kept on trying to walk. After a few more steps, the foot just fell off, and I managed to slam the now footless prosthetic down, which jarred my knee and hips and caused me to slip over and faceplant in the corner of a cement mini-wall. Oh. Being a self-respecting 10-year-old, I started to bawling my eyes out, which caught the attention of the new teacher. It was her first day, and the only disabled student is in pieces. The foot got thrown backwards when it fell off, with the bloody nose screaming like a banshee. She didn't know what to do since I couldn't get back up, so she gave me some tissues for my nose, and I made a very confused call to the maintenance man asking if he knows how to fix prosthetics and if I can get to the school nurse. Too long didn't read. My prosthetic foot fell off, and I face planted in the cement wall. Great Frost Hawk says, I went from chuckling to myself about you messing with your prosthetics to wincing until my cheeks hurt. And that's the best Reddit story you're going to get right now, where you get the full scale of emotions. So, if you got to this point right now, let me plug the channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, you're enjoying this video, obviously. Please subscribe down below. Leave a comment as to what would be the stupidest way you've actually hurt yourself, and if you're enjoying the new format of just solo Reddit read, dive, whatever. So, we'll do a couple more of these right now. J Bradley 1 says, to try to get a cheap laugh out of my ex, I threw a hammer as hard as I could at a tree? What? The hammer bounced off the tree and I turned in time for it to hit me in the small of my back. A miracle I'm not paralyzed. Thank goodness you weren't throwing an axe. J Bradley 1 says, I had no idea a hammer could/would even bounce off a tree. I thought it would just hit and drop to the ground. Didn't think it would ricochet right back at my back. Very true. Drew says, riding my bike home in 5th grade slowly alongside my walking friends. Friend, Drew, look where you're going. Drew, nah dude, I'm good at biking. I can do it with my eyes closed. Friend, no really dude, look out. Drew, nah man, I'm good. Instantly crashes into a parked car, mess up my bike chain, had to drag my bike home in shame and explain to my mom why my knee and lip are bleeding. Idiot. I mean, whatever, everybody makes mistakes. Lesson well learned. Drew head, I've done something very similar before, and I've been named Drew before, so I'm relatively certain you are me. Uh-oh. The guy's doing Gemini Man online. Drew, fun, aren't we? I/stupid? What? Drew M. Hello, gentlemen. Just wanted to check in. Oh my god, there's more Drews. How are you guys doing? There's 67 more Drews, I'm guessing, in the thing, but I'm not going to read it because no. Virgie Berg says, punch myself in the tit while trying to F around with my sleeves. I don't know how it happens, but it happens often. What? Lily's 1976 saying, having punched, smacked, squeezed, bruised my tits since they grew, and I'm pretty sure they're their own entities. Yes, I spelled it that way on purpose. This reminded me of one. I used to work as a cook, and one time I was carrying a couple boxes of who knows what into the cooler. They're pretty heavy, and I was carrying them chest height. I get really close to the stack of boxes I'm going to set them on, and as I'm sliding the boxes to the stack, my right nipple somehow became lodged between them, and when I set them down, that shit hurt. Okay. Edgy username E says, my friend saw a jellyfish on the beach and kicked it, like on purpose, knowing what it was. They had to go to the ER. Kopitapa says, the level of badass of that jellyfish is through the roof. You washed up on the shore. You know you're on enemy's territory. It's hot. Straight up melting. You have no legs or arms to fight back, and yet you do. You poison that little brat straight to the ER. What a legend. Blop Bleep Bloop says, you don't even need to be alive as a jellyfish to sting. Those little fuckers are zombies. Terrifying. Alright, last one, because you got gold. Senator Cheese says, I'm a welder. I work with really hot steel parts constantly, but I regularly burn myself on the microwave meals I eat for lunch. Talis Intain says, I can relate to this. I was a foundry worker a while back. Worked in an environment daily casting 4 tons at a time of molten steel. Riddled with small, although some not small, burns on my hands, yet they're mainly from cooking. I think from working in such a hot environment, I've become accustomed to heat, so many of the burns from the kitchen are from picking up hot pans, not realizing and feeling they're burning until it's too late. Admittedly, though, the worst burn I've had is from the foundry. Got hit in the leg by a splash of hot molten steel during casting. Required 2 surgeries that took about 18 months to heal. Okay, so I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on over there. I will say though, like I have a lot of scars on my knuckles from like boxing and other miscellaneous things, but the biggest scars I have on my hands are from a reaching in the oven, grabbing a Pop-Tart. And you know how like in the toaster oven those little like beams that are like they're like normally gray, but they turn red when they're toasting something. Picking up Pop-Tart and moving my hand up into the top of that and getting a burn up there. Those are the worst scars that I have on my hands right now. So if you like that, like stories just like that, please subscribe down below. Check out that other video over there. But also pose a comment down below what you think I should do with this channel to see about the progression of growing it and what kind of niche I should find myself into.